Ladies and gentlemen, g'day, g'day. This is a public service announcement. My name is Economics Mate, by the way. If you're new here, thank you for dropping by, and consider subscribing if you indeed like what you see. Now, I'm your resident Aussie, okay? I'm the resident Aussie tanker. I'm here to make your lives easier, to give you a better insight of what the hell's going on with this update. So, basically, I'm sure you've heard from different news sources and from different content creators possibly and other members of the wargaming community that there's going to be sets instead of tech trees. They're going to be removing tech trees as we know them, all these tech trees as we see them like this. They're going to be removing it, and they're going to give us in its place sets, tank sets based on playstyle, based on armor profile, based on all kinds of factors like that. So not necessarily based entirely on nationality. As far as I can tell, nationality is going to be a big part of it, but not entirely. Like for instance, the what do you call it? The FV215B183 line, the Death Star. It doesn't make any sense. You got all these heavily armored non-turret and tank destroyers from the AT8, the AT7, the AT15, the Tortoise, and then you come up with this 183 like. It's a tank that doesn't make any sense, right? So therefore, the 183 is not going to be in the same set as the Tortoise is and all the other ones. So I have compiled a list based on information that I've been sent, possibly of tanks that you're gonna have to buy if you've researched them already to get to the tier 10, in order to ensure that you have the correct tanks in your sets. Okay, so that way you don't lose progress. If you don't do them. First and foremost, what I want to do is I want to go through quickly the vintage sets. Now, people are asking, what are the vintage tank sets and whatnot? So, vintage tanks, there's going to be a separate area in the UI where you'll be able to see your vintage tanks. You can't play just yet, but you'll be able to play a few months after the update is released on like a vintage game mode. Essentially, it's anything from tier 1 to tier 3. So, anything that's a tier 1 to tier 3 tank, you'll be able to get. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. So for instance, with the British line, you got the Cruiser 2, the Cruiser 3, and the Cruiser 4. These three tanks here, they are not going to be in any of the sets at all. So if you want to just have them in your garage to keep, just buy them. Just buy the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 of every single nation, because they are going to be part of the vintage set. They're not going to be part of the regular sets that you'll be able to play in regular modes and other modes they're going to be. So again, if you want to keep these tanks as sort of like a memory or whatnot, or you just want to collect them, they're going to turn into vintage tanks. So I would suggest just buying them. They're really cheap. They don't really cost anything, and just keep them in your garage. And then of course you've got all your, your, what do you call it? Your, let me get rid of the regular game modes. You got all your 5.5 tanks that were removed as well, and they're going to be considered vintage tanks as well. Anything up to tier 3, so you got your tier 1s, your tier 2s, and your tier 3s, they're going to be part of the vintage set. So that's it. So if you want to have the rest of the tier 1 to tier 2, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 tanks of every tech tree line, just get them and just keep them in your garage. That's what I did. I purchased all of them, as you can see. I've purchased all of them. It's just there. They're there. In my collection. They're gonna keep collecting dust anyway, but I can at least say, hey, I've got these tanks in my collection, okay? That's the first part of the video, right? So you don't want to lose those tanks. These are the tanks now that you will need to repurchase if you want to ensure that your tech tree progress remains when the update finally releases. So the first one we're going to go through is the Jagdpanther 2, which is over here. So this thing right here, I'm just going to click it. Hold on. Why is it doing that for? Okay, whatever. So the Jagdpanther 2. This is the Jagdpanther 2, okay? As you can see, the Jagdpanther 2 is the tier 8 tank that leads towards the Jagdpanzer E100. Cool. This is going to be, I don't know why, so I don't know the reasoning why, but this apparently is a tank that you're going to have to purchase in order to make sure that you don't lose your progress in the tech tree when the sets come out. So I would suggest buying the Jagdpanther 2 and just keeping it in your garage, so that way you don't lose your tech tree progress. The second tank that you're gonna have to buy is the RU251, which is over here. So this thing here, the RU251, which is down here, that comes after the SB1C, I would suggest obviously buying it. And of course the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen when that comes out, because it's going to lead towards the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. And whatever the T9 tank is. So obviously we request that the Wargaming have suggested, or someone from Wargaming has suggested that you purchase the RU251, keep that in your garage, and of course the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen when it comes in, if you want to obviously have that tank. So that's also very important. Now, the next one is actually the American tech tree, so the M6, which is this right here, the T6 tank. The M6 is the one that you also need to purchase, and you need to keep that in your garage because you don't want to lose any of your tech tree progress, because the M6 actually leads to both the M6 Yo and the T110E5. So you don't want to lose the tech tree progress of any of those two tanks. Now, I don't have the T110E5, so I don't have to worry too much about the E5, but because I have the M6 Yo, I don't know the tank sets and how they're going to set it, whether the M6 is going to go to the Yo, whether it's going to go to the T110E5, or it's going to go to something else completely. So they are suggesting that you buy the T6 American heavy tank, the M6. The second one, the third one, I should say, is the T71, which is the the American T7 light tank, which is the one right there. The T71. I would suggest you purchase that. So if you don't have it researched, research it, and then obviously keep it in your collection. I would suggest obviously researching this tank if you don't have it. Because as you can see, in order to get the T57 heavy, you could have gone down the T71 line, or you could have gone down the M41 Bulldog line. So obviously I need to actually go ahead and research that tank. Probably just free XP it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'll just free XP and then it should be alright. So that would be my recommendation. And then the next one is obviously going to be the Tortoise, ironically. The Tortoise, which is the T9 British tank destroyer before the FV215B183. Remember when I was saying that the FV line doesn't really make sense? Well, the Tortoise is going to be, going to be going to a different set. So again, I would suggest repurchasing this tank. If you've got the 183, I suggest repurchasing the Tortoise so you don't lose your tech tree progression. Because I guarantee you, you're going to lose the tech tree progression if Wargaming decide not to change their minds with transferring all your progress. Because if they don't, then you're going to be screwed. So I suggest buying the Tortoise so you don't lose your tech tree progression. The Black Prince. The Black Prince is another one. This one right here. The Tier 7 British heavy tank. The Black Prince. I would suggest buying this tank as well. And researching it and just keeping it in your garage. Because I guarantee you it's going to be part of another set. So that way you don't lose your tech tree progression. The next one would be the T44. If we go to the Soviet line right here. The T44 is the... the Tier 8 Soviet medium tank. So if you don't have this, if you don't have this in your garage, but you've got it researched, I would suggest probably buying it back and keeping it in your garage, so that way you don't lose your tech tree progression. Let's say you've got the T44 to get to the T54 and the Object 140 and the T62A. So yeah, I would definitely recommend buying it back so you don't lose your tech tree progression. Just in case Wargaming decide not to go against, or rather to decide not to change their perspectives or change their outlook. And then finally, the AMX 1375, which is the French tank, the French light tank. That's the one here, the Tier 7 French light tank. Make sure you have that in your garage because it's going to be part of a different set. So that way you don't lose your tech tree progression, because you will have to basically research it again. It's as if you won't have it. So this is going by what Wargaming have said. They're not going to transfer anything. So highly suggest getting yourself the AMX 1375 so you don't lose your tech tree progression if you have it already and you've researched it but you haven't purchased it or purchased it back. Just buy it. Keep it in your garage. So those are the list of tanks that I would suggest buying back that are crucial for the tech tree progression to remain on your account when the sets come in. Then, of course, we have to talk about all the T10s. All the T10s. Couldn't put Humpty back together again. All the T10s. Every single T10 tank that you've researched over the years, but you haven't purchased, or you've purchased and then sold, I would highly suggest you buy them and put them in your garage. Remember, guys, you have like 2 to 2.5 months left before the official update is released. So I would highly suggest you grind credits in order to get yourself these tier 10 tanks and keep them, especially if you want to grind other lines to get that tier 10 tank. So that way you're guaranteed to have that without worrying about, oh, I'm going to have to go up a different set to get this tank. And so do it. I would highly suggest do it. Please purchase all of your tier 10 tanks that you've previously researched, that you had and then you sold. Buy them back, because you will not have them when the sets come out. You won't have them. If anything, it's going to be like you didn't even research the tank. So I would highly suggest you purchase all your tier 10 tanks back, tier 10 tanks back before it's too late. Okay, so just grind credits. You have 2.5 months, maybe 2 months left before the update comes out. Use that time wisely to grind yourself credits to get those tier 10 backs. Because, like I said, you will lose progress on those tech trees if you don't. Because they will not transfer these to the sets. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully this gives you a better insight on what is required and how you can fix it. Especially considering that there is so much going on. I know I've got so much content I have recorded to be uploaded that's not related to the update. But I just have to make all these videos because it's crucial that you guys know what the hell's going on and how to fix these issues and obviously to address them. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below what tanks you'd like to research and what tanks you are going to buy for sure. And hopefully it should be all good. I'm going to leave a list of tanks in the pinned comments down below of the ones that you need to purchase in case you're not bothered to watch the video for some odd reason. Just use that as a guide and keep them with you because, you know, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Wargaming actually, you know, goes by what they said and stick to their word, or if they're actually going to decide to transfer everything that we've had into the sets because people are going to be complaining about it. I guarantee you 100% people are going to complain. I know I'm going to complain. For someone who's been playing this game for so flippin' long, I wouldn't want all that progression to just go down the drain like that. So, anyway, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. What do you call it? Look after yourselves, look after your friends and family. Peace in the Middle East. Stay safe on the battlefield. And to all my donators out there, anyone who's supported the channel by donating on live streams, whatever, you guys are absolutely amazing. I love you all. To all my channel members as well, thank you so much. Token Pawn, what do you call it? Mike Fiero, Hammers, Silent Cougar, and everyone else. You guys are awesome. Love you all, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.